the concentration I have with the very limited time we have, we'll be talking about how to best prepare and edit the asynchronous video lessons that you will now be doing. So with that in mind, I'm not going to spend too much time on some of the other things. If you've attended any of my other video topics, such as EdPuzzle or the Teach Like a YouTuber series, some of this will be briefly mentioned, but I'm going to point you in the direction of those other videos if you want to go deeper with that. But with that being said, I decided, compared to the last one, that I'm not going to use the Q&A. I will use the chat window if you need to communicate with me, and whatever time we have left, I will reference the chat window. And for the last group, I did get a bottle of water, so hopefully there'll be less calls. Now I will move on. So you already know that there's several tools that you can use in order to record your lessons. You're most familiar with Google Meet and how to record because you're already doing that with your everyday lessons anyway. And most of you have figured out that you don't need to be in a session with all your students in order to do a recording in Google Meet. So if that's what you're comfortable with, I would recommend to continue using that. Some of you have branched off into these other tools such as Loom, Screencastify, and my personal favorite, Screencast-O-Matic. And again, I know I'm repeating this a little bit for those of you who may have attended previous sessions. Loom and Screencastify are great. They're free. Particularly if you sign up for an educator account with Loom, you get more options and it doesn't cost anything. Where I'm making the recommendation for Screencast-O-Matic is that it's good for a Chromebook, laptop, desktop, computer. And for me, it's worth the approximately $20 a year because I have so many editing features in it. And that means that I can record myself, I can record my slideshow, I can show a video on YouTube and then talk about it and go toggle back and forth. And if I really royally mess up in the middle of it, I can take out parts of it. So for those reasons, $20 a year is worth it to me. And I can use it, that same $20 if I use it here at the high school, or if I'm doing it at home, I'm able to log into the same account and be able to do those recordings. And it's not something that if I do it at one place, I can't access my files. I can access them. So I do recommend, if you are looking to do something paid, that you look at Screencast-O-Matic's paid version. They do have a free one, but I think you're limited to the number of minutes and it may have a watermark. You may not be able to do all the editing. So I just want to make that clear for those of you who are thinking about that option. Moving on, I'm going to show you more today about YouTube specifically because several reasons, if you aren't already familiar with these, would be that students, when they go to watch your video, it's better for them if it's on YouTube. The reason for that is Google Drive, depending on the load, and some of you, I mentioned this previously, Google has been experiencing some outages, and Google Drive in the middle of the week for a few hours didn't work at some point. So your students may have emailed you saying, I can't watch the video, it's not working. It had nothing to do with you or even our IT department. It was bigger than that. It was Google on the East Coast was not working properly. And that is still an issue. It may continue to be an issue for a few more weeks until they get that figured out. The other reason, as you're probably familiar, is if you have it on Google Drive, it then opens up into another tab, and then they have to make sure they're logged into the right account. And it's several steps that you need to troubleshoot with them if they say it's not working. But also from a YouTube video load, YouTube automatically scales depending on their internet connection and the device they have to vary the size of the video as much as if they have a 4K high definition compatibility, they can watch it in really great high definition. Or if they have, really not wonderful internet, or they're using a phone that has service that goes in and out, it'll adjust the capability of that video depending on their connection. So all of that is to say that YouTube is a better place to put your content if you are okay with that. It doesn't have to be public. That if someone, I'm going to use Mrs. Wenzel because I know she won't mind me saying this. I'm not going to be able to type in Mrs. Wenzel and see all her classes if she doesn't want it posted like that. You can just have it that it's listed with a link that only students who have access to that specific link can watch the video. And those are some of the things I will show you on the next screen. But I will say that already have a YouTube account with the school district. If you're not already using it, you just have to activate it. It's already there sitting waiting for you. And most of you have already found that I have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to shamelessly plug it right now. You're welcome to like and subscribe, where I'll post all kinds of wonderful content. My following has gone up quite a bit. I'm almost hitting 500, so maybe I'll do something crazy if I hit 500. I have no idea. Anyway, so all you need to do is go and hit the upload video, and that can be your Google Meet, that can be your Loom, that can be your Screencast-O-Matic video, that can be the movie you made in iMovie on your phone. Like, no matter what you use to make your video, this is the steps of how you would get it on YouTube. And then also, as I mentioned, I'm going to show you some of the very basic editing features that are in here, should you decide you want to use this for your Meet sessions or anything else that you may be using. So at this time, I'm going to share this tab instead, and hopefully you see YouTube. I'm logged in. The way I know is that I have my little avatar HTTV thing up here in the corner. Of course, if you are signed in, that's going to be your icon there. And then you'll see there is a create button. So when you hit create, you would hit upload video. Now, keep in mind, your Google Meet link or whatever you use to record has to be local to your computer. Like, the YouTube's not smart enough to go find it on Google Drive. You're gonna need to download it onto your Chromebook to then upload it into this place. So keep that in mind when you get to those spaces. Now, going and sharing this tab instead, I know the font is super small, but you'll just have to trust me when I say things are located. So while you're uploading a video, you're going to be asked the title. So you can decide if you want to put today's date or put Asynchronous Monday, or, you know, whatever the lesson was. Like, you decide what the title is. That's what the kids are going to see as the title. Next place down is a description. You can decide to put as much or as little information on there as you want. If you wanted to tell them to, here's some more websites for more information or other references that I talked about, you could put hyperlinks in this area. But you don't have to do that. The next thing down is thumbnail. So Google, well, it is Google technically. YouTube will automatically detect a few different thumbnail options that you can choose what you'd like to be like the little screenshot of your video. Once you have created more content, you will get the option to upload your own thumbnail. That's probably, I know for a fact that's what you've seen in my videos, but you've probably seen that in other videos where it's like, when was that in the video? That screenshot, that clickbait, as the kids say. So you can eventually upload your own thumbnails once you have content in there. You then can organize your content into playlists. So let's say you did want to organize it into maybe by week or by chapter in your lessons, or whatever that might look like for you. You can create a playlist and say all of this content for all these videos is September, and tell all the kids that they can look at the September playlist and see all the videos that you made for that month. An important step here, though, that's a little different for us at EHT compared to if you were doing this on your own, is you do want to make your audience that, yes, it's made for kids. Because if you don't hit this button, and particularly if you're working with students under the age of 13 and younger, they may not be able to see your video because of FERPA and some other things related to how the internet works for those age children. So you want to make sure that this, and it won't let you go any further until you pick one. You're going to have to say yes or no. But of course, being a school district, you want to say yes, it is made for kids. Even if the content's not really specifically for kids, maybe it's a video you're putting out for parents, just go ahead and say yes, it's made for kids. Then the last thing I wanted to bring to your attention is you can choose to either make your video public or unlisted. I do not recommend choosing the word private, because private sounds like that's what you'd want, that you only certain people could see it. Technically, that's more unlisted. Private means that you yourself are the only one who can see your video, and you have to be logged in to see it, find it, access it. If you want it like that word, anyone with a link can view kind of concept, that's what unlisted is on YouTube. So if you're going to plan this to share this with students, at minimum, you want it unlisted. You may choose you want it to be public, though, is the next level up. Public would mean that they could search for it and find it. It doesn't matter if they're an EHT person or not. So basic editing in YouTube. I'm not spending time today on WeVideo or any of the other things. I did mention that you are able to watch other videos that I've made and that other people have made in reference to that content. But for the purposes of maybe you're recording your Meet sessions with your students and you want to be able to post them online into your Google Classroom, but something went wrong and you forgot to hit stop recording and it went for another 20 minutes. Or something happened in the middle of the video that you don't want to have in the recording. That's what this will be helpful for. So you are going to, if you want to do any of those kind of editing features, you're going to need an editor. And this YouTube version is free, it's easy, and it keeps it simple. Of course, you could get fancier than this. This is like the most basic that you can do though. Reasons why it's free. Number 2, you can do it on your district issued Chromebook that I'm not jealous about at all. Number 3, it's free. Number 4, you can show the beginning and end. And number 5, did I mention it was free? Because that's the other reason why we're doing this. Okay, we want to do it because it's free. So going back to this, here is the back end of what my YouTube studio looks like. So your studio is your back end kind of organization of all of your videos. The channel is what the public can see. So if you decide that you want to organize your content and have it in certain playlists and look a certain way for the kids, that is going to be your YouTube channel. But your studio is where all your videos are, and it's just kind of in order of what you uploaded. So the most recent video I put on here was this troubleshooting video about Chromebooks and how to make sure you're using it to the best of its capability. Once it's uploaded, I would click on Edit Details, and my screen's a little small, so let me make it bigger. Hopefully you can still see it here. Now, of course, I could edit the title, like maybe I named it something and I didn't want to keep that name. It's just as easy as retyping it in here and hitting save. You can see I have it listed with a playlist, so it's listed with the parent how-to videos if people were following that particular YouTube playlist. I made my own custom thumbnail. That's what all of this is going on right here. But the editor is over here on the left-hand side. So you're not going to see this until after the video is all the way uploaded. And I'm going to also follow up on, depending on the length of your video and the size of it too, but most of you are using Meet recordings, so the size is not really an issue. It may take hours for your edit to fix. So even if something as simple as taking out the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes, in reality is not crazy editing, but YouTube takes a really long time to process those changes. So I recommend not necessarily sharing the link with your students until you know that those changes have actually worked. So down here, if you are familiar at all with video editing, this is a very common view here. This first line, this first track is your video, and down here, the next one down is your audio. So if you know that you're only taking out the ending because the ending was too long or something went wrong, you just click on, like somewhere in the timeline, this is called this area, click on the word trim, and you'll see that I could make it shorter on both ends. And now anything that's in the gray area is going to get cut out. Let's say something went wrong in the middle, and that's the part I want to fix. At the beginning and end, we're fine, but some kid was goofing off, and I don't want that to be in my recording. Once you've clicked on the word trim, you have this option for split. So split will be, you would navigate to the part that you want the first part of the video to be good, click the word split, and then you would take out the middle. So anything in that dark gray is going to disappear. You can preview it if you want to see to make sure that it worked right, which I recommend doing anyway. And then you'd be able to play it and make sure that it skips. You see what happened there? Watch the timeline. It jumps from one part right to the end. So you would decide if that works for you the way you wanted, and then you'll hit save for the changes to save. But again, the changes won't look that way right away. You would want to come back and make sure that the YouTube thing automatically recalculated the time of the video and everything worked like it was supposed to. So that's pretty much how the YouTube editing works. So you would take a Meet video recording, you would save it on your computer, you would upload it to YouTube, you would do all the steps I just went over, you would do the editing you wanted to do, and then finally, I'm not going to save these changes because I don't want to keep it this way. You would take your video link, which is right here, copy this, and you put that into your Google Classroom, whether that's an assignment or you know, a reference in the stream or whatever it might be, that's the link code. So every YouTube video you make is going to have a special code. See, I'm ready this time. So I'm going to go back to one last screen for the couple minutes we have left, which is if you decide to use EdPuzzle. Many of you became interested and familiar with EdPuzzle toward the end of last school year. I'll also follow up to say our district did not at this time decide to purchase a universal license for teachers to have a paid EdPuzzle account. So you are going to be limited to what they call the basic license unless you decide out of your own to pay for the monthly subscription of like $12 a month. I'll follow up to say that I feel like the basic free version is going to get you pretty far, however, because you can have up to 20 videos of your own content. So what I mean by that is if you're departmentalized and you have several teachers teaching the same content, you may want to decide amongst yourselves that, okay, you're going to do 20, you're going to do 20, you're going to do 20. And then between the 3 teachers, you have enough for 1 a week and more than that. If you're going to do this by yourself, you're a lone wolf like Mr. Gunther, the only one teaching German, you may need to only have 1 video every other week because in order to get you through the whole school year, you only want to use EdPuzzle every other Monday and have enough content. You're not deleting your old content. Because you may decide when we go back to normal, hey, I like EdPuzzle. I want this to be a homework assignment for them sometimes, and I don't want to have to delete the work of what I did. Just remember that you're going to be capped at 20 unless you decide to purchase it, or you're going to have to delete some of your content. So that's my workaround if you are going to use EdPuzzle. I know many of you were interested in continuing with it. I do have an entire video just on using EdPuzzle and Google Classroom if you are interested in it. And for those of you that don't know what it is, you can take any video that you made on YouTube, like the one we just walked through, and you could have it be an interactive session with the students that you can have as an asynchronous assignment that you have them watch it doesn't have to be a whole Google Meet. It could be a 5-minute video of you going over something in a slideshow, and then a pop-up question will come up that they have to answer. It also forces them to watch the video. They can't skip to just the questions. They actually have to watch the video. And if you really want to be a stinker, you can make it that after they answer that question, if they got the answer wrong, they got to watch that part of the video over again. Ha ha ha. So, and you don't have to make up your own content. EdPuzzle lets you pick any video that you find on YouTube. It also has National Geographic. It's got I think Khan Academy is in there too, if I remember right. TED Talks are in there for sure. So you may find on your own that they have content that you don't necessarily need to create your own video, but you just want certain questions to appear, and that could be your asynchronous lesson. So I do have a couple more chat things that came in, so I will reference that at this time. Are we allowed to post our videos to YouTube with students in it with FERPA? So my recommendation, and I have this sort of quasi-confirmed, as long as we're using Google Classroom, I guess where it gets funny is if you're going to make your videos public. If you're just taking the video and then posting it in your Google Classroom, then that's fine. That's going to be covered because that was part of your interactive lesson with the students. It's already implied that we're going to be recording it. That's already been district, communicated. And as long as you're just taking that unlisted link and then posting it in your classroom for your students, you're basically doing the exact same thing you would have been doing in Google Drive. Where it can get a little different is if you're taking a full Google meeting, you're recording the whole thing and then making it public on YouTube. I think if you plan to make your videos public, you probably don't want any components where the students are in the video. And that's where some of that editing is going to come in. And maybe when you ask the students a question and they responded, you probably want to take out those chunks as it's appropriate. In YouTube editor, can you pause your video, add another clip? No. So the short answer on that is keep in mind the numbers 1, 3, and 5 of why we're using YouTube, and they were all in the answer of that it's free. If you are planning to do more advanced video content than that, that's where I would recommend things like the Screencast-O-Matic license, iMovie, Windows Movie Maker. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to throw some bucks at it, then you're talking Premiere, Final Cut, Avid, like real professional video editors use. unless you're really planning to be a YouTuber. And I mean, I'm saying this as someone who uses Final Cut Pro every day. It's a lot if you've never edited before. So I would say the next baby step, if you find that the YouTube one isn't enough, would be either to purchase Screencast-O-Matic or to look into WeVideo, or which WeVideo is relatively inexpensive too. Or if you may have like a desktop or laptop computer, you're talking Windows Movie Maker or iMovie. Went to YouTube and you did not see the EHT icon. Can I repeat how this works? So that was, I will go back. So keep in mind, I'm already signed in. So that's how I know that's where that EHT TV icon is, because it's me. You should be signed in as you. If you want to find my content, I am public. Like my videos are mostly public. You can just search for my name and this is me. This is, I mean, you can follow my personal one if you want to, but I mean, there's no reason to. This is the one associated with the school district, and any content that we record is going to go onto this place. And then you can hit the bell, hit the subscribe button, and all those lingo words the kids say nowadays. So with the few minutes that we have left, does anyone have any other follow-up questions? If you want, you can unmute yourself to ask your question. All right. Seeing none. Oh, all right. I'm just gonna head off and get ready for the next session, but you can reach out to us via email. We will be, our plan is to continue presenting on Mondays. And now that the school year is getting a little bit more further into it, we will be bringing in additional presenters on specialty content as well. So it won't just be my talking head the whole time, although I will always be available for any questions you have. So feel free to reach out to me. Thank you, Chris. Okay. I will see all of you online. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next time.